Okay. So recording is on now. Session will be recorded and recording चालू हो गई है. जिसको सवाल पूछना हो वो मतलब पहले हम we will cover the points first in section G and let us see if we can finish today. Assets, liabilities, we have NRI section also. And if there is a question, on these sections which are being covered, then you can ask during the call. You can even put in the chat box, and if you want to speak on the mic, then you can raise your hand so that I will know that person wants to ask it on the mic. So what else? Right. Okay. I think still people are joining in. We have like 12 people, I think, apart from myself. So I think we will start. Whoever joins late, they can catch up from the recording because we should not delay too much. Okay, so welcome all. We will have section G today, which is, uh, from the Rajnesh versus Neha income affidavit. Actually, I like to call it income assets affidavit because it is not just your income, it covers your assets also. And section G is nothing but assets, you know. So now we will go, line by line. Basically, I will just highlight this portion. Assets movable and immovable owned by the deponent. So deponent would be, we are basically covering it from husband point of view. Of course, if you have a question about what if the wife says, that also we can cover, but main focus is on how husband has to fill it up. So deponent is you yourself, the husband, and self-acquired property, if any. So generally, self-acquired property is taken to mean your, immovable property, like any flat, any house, or a plot of land which you may have. So I guess basically it doesn't say address, but I imagine, if you want to describe a property, then the only way or the best way is to, give the address, full details, where it is situated. Properties jointly owned by the parties after marriage. So this is a little bit tricky thing because okay, so I guess this would be something where both the parties' names are there, and that can normally happen only after marriage. It is not like likely that you put uh, your spouse's name on a property before marriage, and then after 1 year or 2 years you are marrying them. Normally, that would not be the case. So this is, I think, straightforward. We can take it to be any property where there is a joint ownership, and this is a very common thing actually that you know co-owners will be mentioned on the property. So share in any ancestral property. So I am not very familiar with the ancestral property concept. Um, I mean, we know what is ancestral property is, but what exactly share means? Is it like you already have a share, or does it mean you may have a share in future? So my take would be that it should mean your share as of now, or in case, okay, probably I think it can mean any kind of share because sometimes the wife can even file a separate suit for her claim of the ancestral property of the husband, or even the child's share. So those things, ancestral property, what we have observed is the people who come to us, it is maybe 1% of cases. It's not a very normal. I mean, not a very um, frequent thing, basically, that you know, husband is having ancestral. Um, so I would imagine it means basically, what is your share as the husband, as the successor in that property. So other joint properties of the parties. Joint, so it says joint properties, accounts. Um, okay, I think it means bank accounts of any kind, investments, which could mean fixed deposits, mutual funds. Anyway, there's a separate for mutual funds also, fixed deposit receipts, stocks, debentures, their value and status of possession. So basically, this would mean is you mentioned some kind of detail that I have so and so mutual fund folio number or whatever it might be, bank account so and so number in so and so bank. Any stocks you have, then you have to mention their name of the stock or whatever your company name and how many shares, etc. And value would, I would imagine it would mean the value which is now this is an interesting question. Now, does it mean the market value in case of mutual fund or stocks, or does it mean the investment value? So generally, I would assume that it is maybe the right thing would be to mention the investment value because the market value can fluctuate too much. It may be go change on a daily basis. Okay, so we have I think a couple of questions. So go ahead. You can ask your question.
Yeah, hi, sir. Sir, regarding this mutual funds and shares, so if we are having the mutual funds and shares, so uh, if the case has been filed, DVC, can we withdraw that? What is your suggestion over here?
Okay, see, we will cover the suggestion part later because we have a lot of
Okay.
things to cover. So you just remind me with this question later on. Yeah. Okay. We have next question.
Sir, can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, my father has, I'm having a currently a DV case, and my father, when I was minor, he had taken some shares which were in physical form, and those shares are yet to be demat or electronically transferred, but they are being purchased by my father. There was no money as such from my end. So if I those are a substantial amount at this point of time, will that also has to be put it across in the statement, income and liability statement as such?
No, no. It is the, if you read this, joint properties of the parties. Now, what do you
Hmm.
mean by parties? It is the spouse, husband and wife.
Hmm.
The family members doesn't get included in this. So no need to
Okay.
worry about that.
Okay, because that is the only one which is a substantial amount. Rest, most of the things are can be managed across. So, should I be putting that thing in the income and in the Rajneesh versus the statements disclose across in the front of the court?
Which thing? Your father's shares?
No, father has taken the
Uh-huh.
shares when I was a minor, more than around
No, no.
25 years
See,
back.
minor means like they are in your name or in father's name.
Yeah, it is in my name. It is in my name.
So it becomes your property, right? Now you are
But
not a minor anymore. Hmm.
yeah, yeah, 100%. So,
Hmm.
and those are physical in nature. So it has not come in the in any of the book of records or any of my text filing. Nothing has come as such.
Yeah, I mean, see, that is a more like a question of uh, you had some assets and then they are not in demat form,
Hmm.
but it is still your asset, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, whether you have disclosed in income tax or not, that's a different kind of thing. I mean, uh,
Yes.
it should be disclosed if the income tax return or whatever says that, what. is the value of your whatever stock investments or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And see, they are very so that is a different question. But I think if it's in your name, then it's your asset,
Okay. Okay.
and it should be disclosed as per the affidavit. Otherwise, you have to, in case something happens, then you have to be ready with the consequences.
Okay. So just last one simple question. Point number
Yeah.
three, share in any ancestral property. Uh,
Right.
just on this part, I just want your 30 seconds. Just I'll explain you the entire thing. I will not take more than 30 seconds. My grandfather had put across one particular flat, which is in the name of my mother, not in anything in name of my father, and they both are very much right now staying with me. But the thing is that every property which we have taken across is in the name of mother only. So please specify on the ancestral property, because this has come from my grandfather to my mother, not to my succession, that is my father. And all those things are there. So is there any chances of putting that can be having, because right now the DV case mentions my father, my mother, myself, and my brother's name. So is there my wife can challenge on that particular asset?
Yeah, see, whether it mentions their name, even if it doesn't mention their name, the affidavit remains the same, basically. Uh,
No,
it,
no,
it is not like mm, it is not
no,
like
no.
they are liable to have, see, it is share in ancestral property. Whose share? Your share, not your father, not your mother. It is your share, deponent share in ancestral property.
Okay.
So that I think if you have done a little bit of reading yourself, maybe you can do some research as
Yeah.
to what is the share, because I am not very familiar with these things. So
Okay.
maybe we
No,
can
no.
have a
Because,
separate session on this point.
okay. Sorry, 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 sorry. No problem.
There is no need to be sorry. I mean, uh, so what I'm saying is like no need to worry too much. Just because they are respondents, even if they are not respondents, your reply should remain the same.
Okay.
It
No,
doesn't matter if they are.
my question was that ki my wife can means I have to disclose this particular share because I don't have any other property other than my parents have one property. Otherwise, I don't have any residential or any property as such. What I say property means any of the physical non-movable assets.
Yeah, I mean, how does it matter whether you have property or not? Whatever is the
Okay.
actual status, you have to disclose.
Okay. ठीक है. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take a question from the chat box. Yeah. Okay, so one question is, only details of stocks owned by us need to be mentioned, or only stocks jointly held? So basically, this says joint properties. So, I mean, it is very clear. It's very clear that this is a um, joint, because if there is something which is singly owned, one second. Okay. So if there is something singly owned, uh, that that I think is not. I don't see it, covered over here. Um, excuse me. I'm having a cold today. So where was I? Chat box. Okay, so we have one more question. Only details of jointly held. Yeah, jointly held stocks only. Okay, this section. Next question is this section G of for assets of the deponent is for husband only. Well, you are the deponent. You have to file yours, and wife is the deponent for her affidavit. She has to give her affidavit. So it is for both. Okay, so the next question is when wife submits her affidavit, she won't have to give details of any of her own property at all. No, that is not correct. She has to give details of all her properties as per this affidavit. There is no, there is no way, she can, because it is for each, both the parties. Rajnesh versus Neha is applicable to both the parties. And one more thing is, whenever something says, owned by deponent, deponent is basically whoever signs the affidavit. It can be either husband or wife. And if you look the section A, so okay, personal information, okay, that is fine. Whether the applicant, so wherever it says applicant, applicant is normally the wife who applies for maintenance. So that would mean that it is for wife basically, not for husband. You can counter that point in your reply, but this point she has to fill. And again, general monthly expenses of the applicant. So wife will state this, these are my expenses. Husband doesn't need to fill it. But if you want to counter her exaggerated expenses, you can put those in your replies. Actually, I think later on there is a section also. We will cover that. So let's move back to section G for assets. Okay. Okay, there is another comment. I think their value will normally mean their market value as of today. Of course, it is estimate of fair market value that could change in future. So a truthful statement in case of a plot will be plot purchased in 2015 for 20 lakh, currently worth rupees 35 lakh. Yeah, I think for a plot or a flat, it makes a lot of sense to mention the market value. Um, so it makes sense, I think. But for something like a share, stocks, now those things can change value. So um, I mean, there is no mention here. Okay, actually, self-acquired property, it doesn't say value of the self-acquired property. It only says, uh, I mean, there should be some particular as to the size of the property, at least, I imagine. So I think it's I mean, I don't know. They could have given detail, mention the address, size, market value, whatever. So now in this case, point number 4, it says their value. So it's clear that, some value has to be there, whether it's market value or investment value. So, right. I guess, yeah, uh, people want to submit. I mean, there is no harm if you want to submit the market value. I guess nobody can question it, but uh, normally only stocks go down, can go down. I mean, bank statements, mutual funds also can go down actually. Fixed deposit and those, I mean, bank account, I mean, some kind of an investment account, which is like a debt oriented. Normally it won't go down. So, but whatever you have to give, you just, provide. I mean, it's not a, now one thing I'm not sure is like, do we have to provide their, some statement documents, or it's only a description? So, okay. So let's proceed. Hmm. Okay, do we need to mention car, laptop, mobile phone in point number 1, self-acquired property? Well, yeah, I think since it includes immovable, so if there is nothing else for immovable property, then I think yes, car, motorcycle, whatever, scooter, uh, I don't know, maybe, does it include your kitchen and household items also? Probably not, but really speaking, even they are like your property. But probably I think the idea is, what kind of property which gives some kind of a estimate of a person's financial status and well-being and income levels, like savings, like how much he has saved or how much he has inherited. You may get assets from your parents or inheritors also, right? Even though you may not have earned it yourself. So yeah, I think that's a valid point. Um, Immovable, movable property also we should mention. Um, okay, we have raised hands. Yeah, go ahead. Nine active 9G. Ask your question. Okay, I think he's not active. So next, I think Pawan, you can ask your question.
Hi, sir. Good evening. So my wife, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
My wife has a educational academy and kind of online, offline tuition center. And along with the job, she earns approximately 40,000 out of that uh, um, academy. Um, she has recently filed her Rajnesh versus Neha, and she has also mentioned that she's earning from this academy 40,000 rupees. But in Rajneesh versus Neha, for the self-employed persons, basically there is a column I where every micro detail has to be filled, which she hasn't filled thoroughly, basically. So my question here is that she has just written one line along with her salary details that she's taking classes and she's earning 40,000, but she hasn't filled completely the column number I, which is a little bit more exhaustive in terms of her previous incomes and so on. So, is she obliged to fill column I
Yeah,
in
we
this
we will
particular
take it.
case?
Yeah, let's wait for section I because we don't want to jump the gun. So let's finish section G first. So remind me of this question, when we come to that
Fine, sir.
point, that section.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
Okay, so we were at section G, and okay, point number 5 we will cover now. Status of possession of immovable property and details of rent if leased. So okay, so I guess status of possession. Okay, I think it could be important. It could be meaningful for those kind of properties which are, still being developed by the builder. So you don't have possession, but if you have possession, then you will need to mention that, I have the possession of the property. And in case it is given out for rent, so then you have to give the rental, I mean, how much you are getting for rent on that property. And I believe this could include any, whether it's commercial, residential, any kind of property. So uh, it should include all of them. And then point number 6 is details of loan taken or given. So let's cover loan taken first. So loans taken would be any bank loan, personal loan. Uh, it could be educational loan for the child. It could be, uh, I don't know, gold loan if people are, basically, any kind of loan. Um, and now given by the deponent is, I think that would be like, normally we don't see that, but because individuals normally don't give out loan, but in case you have given to somebody, some friend or family member, then you can mention that over here, loan given by you. So, okay, so we have covered loans, point number 6. So, section 7, brief description of jewelry and ornaments of parties acquired during after marriage. So, I think this is an important point because during marriages, the Sridhan and the gifts, which are covered by given by both the parties to each other, and Brief description. So interesting. So basically, I think you need to mention the item and maybe weight of the item. In case you don't know the weight of the item, then at least like, what kind of item it is, whether it's a necklace or, I mean, I don't know, earring, what else, ring, all kind of things. So, um, ornaments. So basically both, like includes ornaments. Okay. Now we have coming to assets section G. Okay. There is one question. Can we say we took loan from mother? See, can we say is not the right question. Have you taken a loan or not? Before marriage, you need to pay her back, but we don't have any documents of loan as it was within family. I mean, if there is a loan, you can mention it, but if there was no loan, then I mean, it is between you and the opposite party, and you can fight it out in the court, and you will say, I took 10 lakh loan from mother. Your wife will say, I took 10 crore loan from my mother. Now you keep on explaining, whether your mother had 10 lakh or 10 crore to begin with. That's another story altogether. So these things, I mean, uh, like whatever is the factual thing, you can state. If you don't have evidence, uh, fine, you don't have evidence. But then if somebody opposite party raises a question, like, where is your mother income? Was she working ever? Then you have to have some way to explain it. Did she have an inheritance? Where did she get the money from? Right. Okay, so we will go to section 8, details of transfer deeds or transactions of alienation of properties previously owned by the applicant, executed during the subsistence of the marriage. Also provide brief reasons for any sale or transaction, if any. This is interesting. So basically, it is not, by the deponent, it is by the applicant. So what it means is, in case there was your wife's name on any property and now her name is not there, that's what alienation means. Give details of that, right? And give brief reasons also. So that's, I don't know. I mean, this is maybe to take care of, all that thing what people used to do, or maybe even now, this is something husbands try to safeguard their property, by I'll transfer it to my mother's name. So actually, I don't think that's a problem because it's not owned by the applicant. It is, her name is not there on that. So this one is only for properties which are, wife's name was there and somehow it was removed. So I can't understand how that name will be removed because, you can't remove somebody's name just like that. Okay. So another question. Okay, the question is, I transferred my own share in a joint property which was on my name and my mother after marriage. What should I mention in point 8? This was a transfer deed in blood relation, so money transaction in this transfer was involved. I mean, I mean, as per my reading, it is not covered by that, unless there's a typo here in the Supreme Court judgment. So if it's a typo, then let somebody point it out. I mean, let somebody get it corrected, then we will see. Because even though the intention seems to be to catch all these kind of transfers, which a husband might do, but it is not owned by the wife applicant. So how is it applicable? I cannot. I mean, to my knowledge, it doesn't. Now, one thing what may also happen is that, once husband transfers, or wife may come to know, she may not come to know. Let us say she comes to know about it. Anyway, they will raise this point. Let them raise the point. Because, see, one argument every husband should make, um, as a dutiful son, because they want you to be a dutiful husband. That's like maintenance, is a social, legal, and moral duty, all that stuff. What about your duty to your mother or your father? How about that? Does the law does the law say that, your duty is solely to your wife, not to your mother? There is no law which says that. So, and there are judgments also, and there is a Senior Citizen Welfare Act also, so senior citizens also can't be thrown out of the house, there are like, they can also have maintenance. CRPC 125 also covers parents. They can ask maintenance from children, right? Um, so the law is very clear, like, and out of love and affection, person can transfer money. And if anybody has any doubt that, like sometimes people say that, uh, I have purchased this thing for my mother. So just see a record of, how much money you have spent on your wife and how much you have spent on your mother. Like when I say spend, like assets, something which is like, which will help them in the future. And how many times, how many years you have stayed with wife and how many years you have stayed with your mother, or basically you're alive, right? So who should get more kind of, asset? If your mother has been there for 30, 35 years and your wife is like, she stayed with you for 3 months, use that argument in the court. And you can even say, see, this is not an emotional argument. I mean, you can say it's an emotional argument. People can say that, now that I realized, I was saving my money or whatever for my family, basically future family with my wife and children in future. But then I realized, what she can do. Now I want to safeguard my parents' future, basically. That's also my duty. So can the court come in and say, no, no, we will tell you what your duty is. We will divide your assets that you can spend only 20 lakh or 5 lakh for your mother. Rest everything you have to spend for your wife. See, these things can't be controlled by law. Yeah, I mean, merits of the case, people can see, that. Anyway, that's asset and affidavit. You can fight it out. Let the parties fight it out and give merits of, who has done domestic violence, who has the right on husband's assets till date. You can argue in court. People don't argue basically. That's the problem I have seen. So you can say, my mother has done so much for me, or my father has done so much for me. I have not done anything for them. I want to safeguard their future because if I don't do it now, my assets may be taken away by my wife. So I have not seen any judgment which says that, no, no, we will stop you from doing that. Or if you have purchased something for your father or mother, no, no, you sell that house and give that money to your wife. I have not seen any single such judgment. Only thing is in residence order in DV case, there can be, scenarios where if wife is kind of, says that I want to stay in this house, matrimonial house, where your parents are, the owner, then she can claim the residence right in that. She doesn't become owner of that. And the courts will allow it also, even though it belongs to your parents only. It doesn't belong to you. But that is only for residence, and residence order is something we see very rarely. Even though as a template, most petitions these days, what we are hearing is that wives will mention in the petition, I want residence order. Actually, they don't want residence. They are already staying separately in a different city also many a time. So it's just a, some kind of a copy paste template. I want residence order. I want protection order. So it was just copy and paste from somewhere. So, so I would say this is since it says applicant previously owned by the applicant. It doesn't even say where the applicant previously resided. Had it said that, I could have said okay, if she resided in your mother's home or father's home or whatever, okay, maybe you need to. But this is not a very. This is actually somewhat rare thing actually. So since somebody asked a question, uh, about this thing that he has transferred to his mother and all. So fine, you have done your duty as a dutiful son. Tell that in the court. What's the problem? If they say no, no, you're not your dutiful son, you're only let them prove it. No, I mean somebody makes an allegation that you're doing it only to hide the assets from your wife. Let them prove it. You're not a dutiful son. Let them bring evidence. That is a endless. There's no, you cannot give evidence of all these things. I mean, it's a very nice thing to argue in court that you are irresponsible, you are this, you are that. Okay, so yeah, there's a comment that applicant wife, yeah, that is correct. Non-applicant husband, that is also correct. Deponent husband. Deponent can be either wife or husband. Deponent basically means whoever signs the affidavit, whoever deposes. So when the wife gives her affidavit, she'll be the deponent. Okay, so let's move to section H. Details of liabilities of the deponent. Details of liabilities. Okay, loans, liabilities, mortgage, charge outstanding against the deponent. I guess it will include anything. It could include your credit card debt also, or any kind of loan. Okay, details of any EMIs being paid. It could include your auto loan, car loan, house, personal loan, whatever. Educational loan in case you have. Some people, rare cases, but some people have education after marriage also. So all those EMIs. Then the date and purpose of taking loan or incurring any such liability. Uh, I guess yeah, this is probably covered in the like all these three together. So you have to give what's the type of loan? Like is it for house or in case it's for house, then you need to give the house address. Uh, you know, or if it's education, then you mention okay, education for what purpose? I did some MBA or some MTech or whatever it might be, right? It could also be a loan from prior to your marriage also. So for example, you took a loan earlier and you're still paying the EMI of that education loan or car loan or whatever it might be. So you need to mention, okay, I did some education on so and so date and the loan was taken and currently I'm still paying the EMIs. Okay, point number 4, actual amount borrowed, if any, and the amount paid up to date of filing the affidavit. So I guess this actual amount borrowed will be the principal amount at the time of taking the loan and the amount paid up to date of filing the affidavit. Now, this I think can mean either principal amount or interest or both. So to be on the safe side, or to be like fully detailed, you can mention like total amount paid up till date. You can mention the principal amount paid, including any prepayments, like you are trying to pay it faster. That also you can mention, including your principal payment amount and the interest amount. So the principal and the interest will total up to the total amount paid. So you can even give the breakup just to be on the to be like fully detailed for this. And these statements you can get from the bank or whatever, they keep on sending this from time to time, or you can even ask for it. So it will make it easy for you to just fill it up based on that. Any other point number 5 is any other information which would be relevant to describe current liabilities of the deponent. Now that's an interesting point. Like, does it current liabilities? It's not like future liabilities. So um, details of liabilities. So I'm just wondering, right? In case you have some education plan for your child, but should you include that as a liability here? Probably not, because it is for current liabilities. Um, in financial terms, current liabilities can also mean like something which you have already incurred. It is not a long-term debt, but like a working capital kind of liability. You take the loan, you pay it back after a few months, you again take a loan, that kind of thing. But for a layman, current liabilities, I think can't think of any example right now, but I guess this is like a catch-all point. In case you miss something in the point number 1 to 4, you can cover it in point number 5. Uh, Okay, so we will come to section I, self-employed persons, professionals, business persons, entrepreneur. Brief description of nature of business, profession, vocation, self-employed, work, activity. Okay, let me see the question. Okay, sorry, I have a small plot. The question is, I have a small plot. Does executing a gift deed to my mom, who gave me part of money to buy this plot after DB case is done, makes sense? Uh, After DB case is done, I mean, I don't understand. Like, if your mother needs a house, you can give it to her even now. Like, what's the need to wait for DB case to be over? Uh, like, because see, if you wait for DB case, like, so I mean, I'm not thinking in legal point of view. Like, you want to do something for your mother, right? Or let us say she needs something, right? Or even if she doesn't need it, right? But you want to give it out of love and affection. So why would you want for DB case? Let us say your wife runs a DB case for 10 years. You know, it keeps on getting dragged on. Normally it won't happen, but let us say, so let us say she knows your plan. You know, this is your whatever. She reads your mind, whatever. So should your mother wait for 10 years just because your DB case is running? It doesn't make much sense. No? If you want to do something for your mother, do it. Because like time is also an important thing, no? Because you need something today. Let us say somebody has a medical problem. They need some money today for their medical need. You say, okay, I will run my DB case after that, you know. But that time, you know, the person, their situation will deteriorate. It doesn't make sense. Like they need the money now, you have to give them now, right? Okay, another question is in point five, liability. Point number five. Yeah, this point. Should we mention litigation expenses like 4 lakhs for 7 cases and monthly expenses, for example, 50K per month, including life, medical insurance, etc. Both above amounts are true in my case. 50K for life insurance and medical. You must be a crorepati kind of, you know, I mean, life insurance. But see, that is okay. It's your choice. Now, litigation expenses, uh, current liabilities of the deponent. Okay, I think let's see if there is a section on expenses later on. There is no detail of, there is something on expenses. Expenses. Okay. So I guess, you know, current liabilities of the deponent. I would imagine expenses, you know, ongoing expenses should not be covered in liabilities, like something which you are, you know, paying every year or every month on some kind of a regular basis. And now coming to your point, if you mention it, I don't think there is a harm even if you mention it. You can mention. At maximum, the opposite side will say, "Oh, you have money to pay the lawyer," but normally they won't say that because you know generally these kind of arguments are not brought in. I know there was a recent Supreme Court case where a constable or somebody went to the Supreme Court to reduce maintenance of 8,000 month, you know, from 8,000 to lower amount. And the Supreme Court said that, you know, anybody who comes to Supreme Court, it was a verbal comment, not in the order, then you definitely can afford 8,000. So they dismissed the case. But normally these things are not argued upon, like, you know, how much is your lawyer fees and if you can afford a lawyer, then you must, because it is kind of, I guess, um, it would be like, you know, open up a different can of worms, basically. Like, because some lawyer may say, no, I am working for free for my client, or the fees I charge my client is, you know, like some kind of a between me and him or her. It's a like why should it be it's a private kind of thing. So why should it be a matter of litigation? So I don't think those kind of things will be discussed in the open. If you want to disclose it, can happen. But don't, see, one thing I will always suggest is many a time husbands have this, kind of some husbands have this mindset that if I claim some kind of um, suffering or duress, I'm under some kind of financial suffering because of all this litigation, I will get some sympathy. You will not get zero. I mean, you won't get. I mean, you will not get any sympathy. I'm telling you, because for the law, I mean, Rajnesh versus Neha itself says like wife can file multiple cases. In fact, the sentence is it's a settled law. So they don't mind, if your wife files three different cases of maintenance. It's a settled law. You can shout and scream that I have to pay, for three different cases, right? But that is the point, you can cover in your argument, in your legal terrorism argument, that she is using the law for legal terrorism, or she is not a bona fide litigant, basically. She's a vexatious litigation she's indulging in. So that's the reason I always say, file your objections with counterpoints. Basically, mere denial will not work. So what people are doing is they don't give any details in their WS or objections, but they want to argue basically. When my time comes, I will argue. Argument is the last stage basically, or it's like it is a stage which comes only if you have put that in your objection, right? So another question is, as liabilities have separate section H, why point 6 in section G about loans? Section H is liabilities, then section G details of loans taken or given by the deponent. Uh, right. So I guess we have to make a logical conclusion that since this point is within section on assets, uh, so any kind of loan which you have taken or given with regards to assets like car loan, house loan, laptop EMI, I don't know, like any kind of loans for this purpose, because every other point is for property. So I guess that's the kind of. But in case there is an overlap, you can mention what if you have mentioned something here, and then in section H, again you have the house EMI. So you can mention it once again. There's no problem. Like one can be very thorough in the coverage. So no need to, because it's the same information in a different section. That's okay. Okay. So we were at section G. So first point was brief description of nature of business uh, for the self-employed person. Whether the business profession self-employment is carried on as an individual, sole proprietorship, partnership, LLP, company, association, HUF, joint family. Okay, so pretty much any kind of association. Okay, in case it's a partnership, then you give share, applicants share. Okay, so partnership specifies a share in the profit loss. Normally, we don't get too many, business kind of cases. So I guess, yeah, I mean, you mentioned the detail as per in case you have a registration of your partnership or proprietorship or whatever it might be, or a company, you mentioned that. And net income from the business profession partnership. So I guess this is something you can directly take from your income tax return. Uh, so this would be, you can give your P&L from there. Business partnership, self-employment liabilities in case of such activity. Liabilities. Okay, so I guess this could be any loans taken by the company or person, I guess. Okay, we'll come to that in case of any doubt. So point number 5 is in case of business or company, business of company. Okay, so basically in case it's a company, provide brief details of last audited balance sheet to indicate profit and loss of the company in which such party is in business in the company. Such party is in business in the company. I mean, the language is like convoluted kind of. Uh, Provide brief details. Okay, so I guess in case it's a company, then your P&L figure, the profit and loss figure, should come from the last audited balance sheet. So it is kind of, because it's audited, it's like more thorough than or more kind of authenticated compared to your own ITR kind of. So I guess you have to give it from your company. Normally, I think very rarely I have seen, people. I mean, I know one or two cases who came to me who are running a company. I mean, multiple companies also sometimes. But otherwise, it's quite rare. Mostly, it's professionals, who have these kind of matrimonial cases. Okay, point number 6 is in case of a partnership firm, provide details of the filings of the last ITR of partnership. Okay, fine. ITR basically. Point number 7, in case of self-employed individual, provide the filings of last ITR from any such professional business vocational activity. Okay. So basically this is for individual, and partnership you have to give for partnership ITR, and company you have to give a company audited P&L figure. So kind of different things for different setups basically. So I think we have covered section I. So what was the question on section I earlier about the wife?
Hi, sir. So
Hmm.
I am not very thorough with this business topic, sir. My wife is running a educational academy, online tuition class type of stuff. And she has already written that she earns approximately 40,000 from that profession. On top, she's also
Right.
working in a school, and she has also filled the relevant column for her normal salary. So she has just written one line that, okay, I'm giving tuitions, I earn approximately 40,000 from that. That's it. But my question to you was that, since I'm not very thorough with this business entities, does she has to fill the column I right now? And why I'm asking is because there are some tax return obligations which are additional in I, where we can cross check her previous year income also. So that is
She
what my
she has
question
to fill
was.
up. See, basically, she's like a dual person. She's having income from salary and income from profession or business of her own, and she's like a independent, single, sole proprietorship kind of person. Basically, individual. It's not like she has opened a company for that purpose. Either way, even if it's a sole proprietorship, she has to give all these points. One to like. So basically, I think she did not have this. Sorry, point number 6 and for company and partnership, but she has to give this point number 7, ITR, right? Sorry,
Right.
and she has to give this net income. That I think you have said that she has given. So basically,
Yes.
this ITR document, which includes her, uh, let us say she has filed the ITR, but it includes only her salary income. Then, it will be, she'll be in bigger soup because her ITR is hiding her professional activity. So actually, you can even report it to the income tax department, basically, tax evasion petition. And she's not disclosing her business income. I mean, it's a
Okay.
possibility, right? Be a dutiful citizen, report tax evasion. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, this is mandatory. There is no escape. She is having dual income from salary as well as business. She has to disclose. There is no escape, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Fine, sir.
So, okay. So section J we will cover now. Okay. Information provided by the deponent with respect to income, assets, and liabilities of the other spouse. So basically, you are the husband, deponent, and in this section, you have to provide information to the court, whatever is the best knowledge about the income, assets, and liabilities of your wife. So let us go point by point. So point number one, educational and professional qualifications of the other spouse. I think this should be pretty straightforward. So you need to mention this as per your knowledge, and then whether spouse is earning. So as per your knowledge, whatever you give the particulars of occupation and income of the spouse as of now. Now, it doesn't say, whether she was earning earlier. So I think that you can cover in your reply affidavit, so in your reply to her maintenance application. We will come to that point in case there is any doubt. But this is basically, current earning, or at least like if she was working when she left you 6 months back, then you mentioned that basically. As per your knowledge, she was working, right? Um, but in case now, if she submits her affidavit, as per the law, she has to submit it first, and she says that she's not earning, then I guess, yeah, then you cannot fill up like, maybe you can have this thing that, her previous job on so and so date, this was her earning. You can mention that. Okay, point number three, if not, whether she is staying in his her own accommodation or in a rented accommodation or in accommodation provided by employer business partnership. So I guess here, most of the time, what we see is that wife has gone to her parents' house. So you mentioned, as per your knowledge, and sometime, uh, like if she has given her petition and affidavit, then she will herself state that I'm staying at so and so place. So this is something you say as per your knowledge. So for example, if she says she's staying in, like somebody was asking in the group that wife is in city in Mumbai, but she is filing cases in Patna. So in this point, you mentioned she's in Mumbai basically. She may say I'm in Patna, but as per your knowledge, she is working in Mumbai, right? She doesn't have a work from home arrangement, so she has to be in Mumbai to do her job. So this is as per your knowledge, as to the best of your knowledge. Now, point number four, particulars of assets and liabilities of spouse are known to the deponent along with any supporting documents. So this is a very, very important point. Now, excuse me, here you have to mention whatever documentary stuff you have, any plot, land, commercial property, uh, any kind of fixed deposit, even jewelry, which she has taken of her own, like which you are aware of, Sridhan. So you can mention all these points because it will give the idea to the court as to what the assets of the person are, right? And how to support documents like, so I would say sometimes you may not have like document of, I don't know, like say, she has a flat. So you don't have the document, but if you don't have document, you can give a picture of the flat. You can give a picture of the jewelry. right? So, okay, there is one more question. See, the affidavit of assets and liabilities need to be submitted by wife first, right? Yes, yes, that is correct. Does working women get maintenance? Well, she can if you don't file, if you don't do your work properly, then I mean, she may get maintenance even if she earns more than you. That's exactly what I keep saying again and again. This is pointless to ask these questions. Like, can she file maintenance? She has already filed. There is a question of, if she could not have filed, then the court would have rejected her maintenance application on the spot. See, don't use your emotions in the legal process. Like, if a court allows a person to file for maintenance, even if they are working and earning, then that step is already over. Now it is your job to mention their salary, whatever details. For example, this is exactly that. You know, any assets or liabilities of a spouse, you can mention that here. Now, income and all, that also is there. If spouse is earning, you mention that. Mention the income of the spouse that it is more than, court will come to know is more than, I mean, you can tell that verbally also, right? So these are the way, you argue in the court. Arguments is totally up to you. Like, it's not like somebody will tell you, like, please, now is your time. Kindly argue for next 5 minutes. You take your time, basically. If the opposite party is arguing for 5 to 10 minutes, you say, let me also get 10 minutes at least. Not that, there is a rationing of time, but I'm saying it has to be a fair process. One party cannot hog the whole time of the court and the other party stays silent. But if you stay silent, then it's your fault, basically. Or whatever. When I say you, it's like you and your lawyer, like you have to manage your lawyer also.
Sir, one
So,
doubt here.
yeah,
Actually, on this maintenance, they have filed the petition, but they have not submitted the assets and liabilities. So, can
right.
we again request judge to fill the complete application and send it?
Uh, you want to sell that? What exactly?
Sir, my wife has filed the maintenance petition under section
Yeah.
19 with respect to 23. They have filed it and they have asked for the maintenance. They have provided the affidavit, but all the complainant, whichever the complaint is there, they have mentioned there, but the assets and liabilities are not mentioned over there. But in the Rajnesh versus Neha document, is clear that the whoever asking for the maintenance, they need to uh, file the assets and liability. It is a mandatory requirement. So can we ask judge that this petition is the incomplete petition, need to be filled with the assets and liabilities with a proper complete application petition?
See, there are two things. One is she has filed a income assets affidavit, but it is incomplete. That is one thing. That is happening very commonly. Actually, that's a default thing.
No, no,
Second,
they have not filed anything, sir. Only affidavit
then
they have filed.
then the very simple. As per my understanding and as per the Rajnesh Neha, it's a mandatory affidavit. It says shall file. Applicant shall file.
Okay.
It is not a may file.
Okay.
It's a mandatory. Shall has a very straightforward legal meaning. It's a mandatory thing. And if she
Okay.
doesn't file, then her maintenance cannot be considered. Like, see, basically what will happen is if he doesn't file for next 2, 3, 4 hearings, if it goes on like this, then you request the court kindly go to the next stage, go to evidence stage basically for the wife,
Okay.
right? That is what you have to do. So it will go to evidence stage, then she'll be examined by your lawyer. That's fine basically. What is the problem? But she can file income assets affidavit even at a later date. It is possible just before the maintenance order, final maintenance order also. She can file. But you don't file your affidavit until she files. You give
Noted.
a memo to the court.
Noted, sir.
Already we have shared in the Telegram group.
Okay.
Sir, just one additional question with the same contest only. That first the wife has to file up all the income and liability statement, asset and liability statement. As per the Rajneesh order, which has been there, it is mentioning that first the wife will be filing and subsequently within a span of 4 weeks, it has been mentioned. So is there any some timeline where the husband has to file it across? In my case, I have not reached to that stage. It is just that the WS is yet to file, a written statement is yet to file. But just to ask, or if you can clarify on it.
See, it has, I have clarified it like 10 times earlier. You file your WS on time. So do not delay your WS because of income asset affidavit issues.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. And income asset affidavit, if she doesn't file, then fine. You tell the court she has to file and then I will file. That's it. That's the law.
Sir, just to tell you about my case, my
No, no,
third
I mean,
hearing has just happened.
let's stick to the sections which we are covering today. So, right. So
Okay, sir.
you are not at that stage yet. So in the recorded video, you can, once you need, you can check all the videos.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Next question in the, you can ask, Pawan.
Sir, my question was also a little bit related. Sorry to disconnect your connectivity. So my wife has just filed 4 papers, no income tax returns, no bank statements, no salary slips, absolutely nothing. And I have already filed objection in the court asking that, okay, please tell her to complete her Rajnesh versus Neha and then I will file. But the judge is not listening to me. He is telling, okay, uh, it's okay, whatever she has filed. Right now, bring your asset and liability in front of the court. So, bit of partial stuff going up in Pune court for me, sir.
Yeah, I mean, partial, you may say, but for them, it's their tradition, it's a new tradition they have evolved after Rajnesh versus Neha. So this is something, I don't see any solution out of it until somebody goes to High Court with a writ petition or something, or basically after, or maybe after the order, basically. You can even say that the wife, affidavit was incomplete, with details were not there, and I have been asked to pay high maintenance. And then what the High Court will do, I don't know. We don't know yet, but um, there should be some clarification on this because my understanding of the law is like I don't have any judgment with me that whoever comes to the court with to ask a certain relief, they have to follow the procedure basically, right? So, for example, even filing a petition to get maintenance is a procedure. Your wife, if she wants maintenance from via the court, she cannot just write a letter or postcard. My husband address is so and so. Please give me 1 lakh maintenance per month. You can't. You have to follow the procedure. You have to file a petition, give the supporting documents, whatever marriage certificate. I got married on so and so date, X Y Z things, and all the details. To justify your case. So same thing with Rajnesh versus Neha. Like it has been made a joke out of it. So I guess see, my guess is the way law works in India is like to some extent I think the system knows that if we do things in a certain way, if you follow a certain tradition, what is your recourse? You can go to higher forum to appeal or writ petition, and the tradition may get modified. The tradition may get rejected also by the high court. High court may put a stop to it. High court may put a stamp of approval also on it. They may say that, let the court make an adverse inference in all such cases against the wife who has not given full documents. Yeah, adverse inference is a very discretionary thing. Then again, it will become a new tradition that judge will say, I'm taking adverse inference. Husband has to pay 25,000 rupees per month maintenance. Okay. Now, maybe the husband is unhappy that 25,000 is too high. Adverse inference is only on, in the record, but there is no adverse inference. You can go and challenge it basically. So that's how the law works basically. You can challenge. So unfortunately, we are a very litigation-friendly country, basically. Justice is in the kind of, uh, uh, keep on litigating forever. That seems to be the motto. Even after all this
Right.
format and all, like, okay, you create your own procedure. She has not given, you give your. So now if you give incomplete affidavit of your own in a tick for that, now you may have to face the consequences. That's the, tradition in India, kind of, which is developing again. That husband should not be allowed to because it's a moral, legal, social duty. I'm 100% sure that that judgment will come on one day again. Like if husband has hidden and he says wife has also hidden, first of all, nobody will argue on those points. That you know, so it's a some kind of social psychological thing basically. Like there is a law, but for women empowerment in quotes, you allow certain freedom or kind of laxity. But if it's a man, then don't allow any laxity and freedom because moral, legal, social duty to pay maintenance to wife. Enjoy your life and your manhood basically. Enjoy your patriarchal whatever patriarchal. What they say that uh, privilege basically. You're a privileged patriarchy. So that's how things are basically. So I guess this is a common thing for like both people that wife's affidavit is incomplete. Uh, it will not have the complete ITR, will not have the complete bank statements of 3 years. Uh, so I guess you have to take an educated guess, like what can you do? Maybe you can also hide some piece of information, but that's like a risk because legally it's not tenable. I can't tell you anything which is uh, not legally tenable basically. So if you do that, then what happens? You see what happens basically. It's your call.
Right.
Okay, next
Okay, sir.
question.
Uh,
Room.
Sir, continuing to your point, in the same uh, assets and
Sir, good evening. I am R. Mugan.
hello,
Yeah, go ahead.
sir. Continuing to your point on this liabilities, assets and liabilities, in the there is a declaration as well, sir. If you are not uh, uh, disclosing anything, that will be a legal action like that.
Yes, yeah, that is correct. There is a perjury possibility also. Hmm, sorry, let me see that again. If you have not disclosed anything, huh? Okay, I have made a full and accurate disclosure. Okay, I further declare I have no assets income other than stated in the affidavit. False statement. Yeah, so see, this doesn't say point number three. It doesn't say I have made any incomplete statement. I have hidden anything. It doesn't say that. It's only about false statement.
So, sir, we can interpret it false statement by that what I have written, that should be correct. That should not be misrepresenting. Something which is not disclosed is something which is not in the legal frame also.
Well, see, we have to go by the legal definition. That's the reason I was saying everybody, uh, we have a book in the uh, Telegram group. Uh, somebody wants to read that book. I mean, don't read it fully. It's a very long this thing, PDF file.
Sir, 400 pages I have taken that book, sir.
Okay, so basically try to focus on any judgment or just search for any judgment which is say omission or incomplete or hiding of information. You don't disclose something. It's not like you lie, but you don't tell something. Is that perjury or not? Try to search for those judgments. That will be
Request
useful.
if you can clarify, sir.
See, if your wife has a plot, she says, I don't have a plot. Or, well, actually, that will be perjury only because uh, she is lying. Um, so it is more like there is a bank statement for 3 years, but she is given for 2 years. Now, does it mean she has told a lie about her income or assets? That's what you have to find out.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So, point number one, if you see, I declare that I have made a full and accurate disclosure. Now, it uh, it doesn't say that I have given full bank statement. I have given all the ITR. It says my accurate disclosure of my income, expenditure, assets, and liabilities from all sources. So basically, it's a kind of loophole in the whole judgment itself, or this format. Um, you know, uh, it's like I can only think of a situation where somebody may say that I do not have bank statement of that year, which doesn't look very likely because you will have bank statement of you can easily get bank statement of past years also by paying some small fees to the bank. So ITR also the same thing. ITR is something you file. You can easily get the copy on the income tax website. So I cannot think of a logical reason how somebody can justify that I have not given complete details or salary slips or whatever it might be. So, but if the format, if I read this, it doesn't directly cover that incompleteness of documentary details. It says false statement. It says full and accurate disclosure of my income, expenditure, asset, and liabilities. Now, what may happen is, let us say the wife says, I don't have income, but she has income which is showing in the bank statement. She doesn't produce that bank statement which has that income. So, but in any case, even her, statement that she doesn't have income, that itself is a lie. That's a false statement. Point number three. So point what I'm saying is false statement will arise as soon as a person tells a lie. Whether the document is complete or incomplete, that's a different point. If she says I don't have income, but you have the bank statement which is showing some regular payments every month, then you can raise this argument that this must be your income. Otherwise, what's the source of this, right? So, but if I go by this particular declaration, it is not covering the point of what happens if uh, you do not submit all these details. So incomplete detail is something which has not been covered with the by the judgment very clearly. And I think let me go to the adverse inference part. I have shared this tab. I think adverse is only coming in one place. Sorry. So if the husband does not disclose the exact amount of his income, an adverse inference may be drawn by the court. Now, actually, this is not the yeah. So this is not the Rajnesh versus Neha direction, but this is part from one of the High Court judgments. This is an extract from that. Now, my guess is this whole affidavit format. This affidavit format came about simply to uh, make sure that you can't hide. Nobody can hide, or it becomes very very difficult basically. So I guess that's the reason they have not stated adverse inference here, but they have given a clause that if husband doesn't file his affidavit, then court can proceed to decide based on wife's affidavit and wife's petition. So the court is free to do that. Uh, right. So I guess we were at point section J, right? Right. Okay. I think we had covered this point also. Assets and liabilities of the spouse as known to husband. Okay. Section K. I think this is the last section, so we will cover it today.
I have a doubt. Can I ask?
Yeah. What's your question?
Sir, actually, can I raise the RVN objections after the evidence submission by the petitioner?
See, I mean, Objection in what sense? You don't file your RVN at all, or what?
No, no, they have also filed RBN, but it is incomplete. I have also filed RBN. It is also incomplete. Can I raise objections on her RBN after the evidence is submitted and maintenance is also ordered and salary attachment is also ordered?
No, that will be too late because you have to, at each step of the case, you have to argue on that. What you can do is, in case you raise the objection, but the order is not in your to your liking, you can go ahead and appeal to the higher level and then seek a modification of the order based on whatever arguments you have, objections you have, that I raised this point, but it was not taken into account by the lower court, whatever it might be, non-application of evidence, non-application of mind, non-appreciation of evidence, XYZ, or non-application of law also, right?
Okay.
That can also
Okay.
happen. But waiting for this thing, because this is a interim maintenance kind of thing, so you waiting for the
Okay.
main case to
Sir,
be over is not the.
should I have to go to High Court or to the Sessions Court? Because my case is a DV case. It is happening in JMFC.
Yeah, then it's session court.
Sir,
Session court.
Sessions Court. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next question.
Sir, do we have to submit Form 16 or payslip? Maybe you covered, I missed that point. Or either one of them, right? For private employees.
Yeah, it was covered in the previous video. I think
Okay.
it is both of them are there actually for a private employee. Like there is one section for private employee which says Form 16,
Hmm.
and then salary slip is a general thing for any employee, whether it's government or private. Same. You can check that previous video.
Okay. Because in the format, I think it was mentioned that for private it was Form 16, government payslip, but I'll go
Yeah.
through
So
that.
yours is what? Private or government?
Private.
So yeah, to give Form 16, it is applicable for you.
Okay. Okay. And one quick thing, it's not advice, but as we were discussing about bank statement, for example, on 26th of a month of April, I got a huge bonus. And if I want to kind of skip that information, so can it be so I provide information for 1st April to 25th April of that particular year bank statement? So something of these things can be tried, or it's riskier, you know,
See, I
rather
mean,
than
it is up to you basically.
okay.
Like bank statement, if she has not given, then you may not also
Yes.
give, and you try your luck basically. I mean,
Yes, correct. And
that's
lastly, yeah, it was just for information for others who have not reached that stage of income affidavit, as Vivek sir is mentioning so perfectly in his golden words that uh, say in my case also she did not submit any of the attachments, ITR, income, nothing. She just filled the document. We raised an objection to the judge that her income affidavit is incomplete. So the judge response was, you yourself has not filed your affidavit and objecting for the girl. So he was not he was not questioning the opposite party lawyers, rather he started questioning us. And to that my lawyer objected that as per Rajnesh versus Neha, the girl has to file it first. His judge's immediate response was, this is what I'm sharing happening in the practical court rooms. He said to my lawyer straightforward, next time you fight from the girl's side, because I think he's taking up some girl's side cases, I will also ask you to submit the affidavit from the girl's side first, and then I'll see what you have to say. And of course, my lawyer kind of smiled and agreed, okay, we'll also file simultaneously. So actually, this is what's happening inside the courtrooms, as
yeah.
Vivek
I
sir
mean,
was already telling.
like that's like a very emotional argument. Basically, the judge is telling the lawyer that when today you are fighting for a husband and you are fighting for this thing, but see, the lawyer has to follow the law, and same for the judge. Nobody is above the law, basically. So this is like saying that if you get advantage today, tomorrow you'll be at disadvantage when you represent the wife's case as a lawyer. Uh, but then I think the lawyer has to say, yeah, that's fine. You know, I agree, but let's follow the law because it is not like Um, so I think that's the basic point, basically. You know, I mean, if the right argument would be for the judge to say that as per the Rajnesh versus Neha, this is the procedure. It doesn't matter you represent wife or husband. So basically, I think this is again that in quotation, women empowerment narrative, or rather women protection, protect women at all costs. Not protect women, actually. It's more like give maintenance to women at all costs, basically. Because otherwise, what's the need of all this, saying all these things, if you represent a wife? So basically, it's like saying that, a female client is, a wife client is at a higher pedestal than a husband client. Law doesn't say that. You have to represent, a person based on the legal facts and merits of the case. That's what the legal profession is all about. It is not that, gender of the person. If your wife, then you fight for her, and or the court should consider her at a higher pedestal. That it's the law itself is there, no? Maintenance law itself says you have put her on a higher pedestal, she can get maintenance. Where is the need to change the procedure also, which has been laid down by the Supreme Court? So these are, some kind of within the litigation legal community, that today you do this, tomorrow you will suffer. Okay, fine. That has no legal, kind of, I would say, merit as such. Basically, it's a some kind of a emotional and the argument that uh, you today, if you argue too much, tomorrow you will be suffer for your wife's case. Okay, fine. So what? I mean, it's not like everybody has to follow the law, irrespective of what happens in the end. Who gets what, how much maintenance? That's a different point, basically. So yeah, I guess this is whole, some kind of a sociological thing. Whatever the legal thing and judgments we read and try to apply, but there's a sociological reality which doesn't, which uh, the law doesn't operate in a vacuum, basically. That's what kind of thing is. Okay, Harshal, you have a question, you can ask it now.
हाँ जय श्री कृष्ण सर।
Yeah.
सर मैं थोड़ा रजनेश, मेरा क्वेश्चन थोड़ा अलग है, पूछ सकता हूँ क्या थोड़ा?
बोलिए,
रजनेश सर
अलग
से।
मतलब क्या, इसी सेक्शन में से है ना?
हाँ डीवी का है।
हाँ बोलिए।
अभी डीवी में मेरे 2 महीने में मेरे जज ने 7 to 8 डेट ले ली, 8 डेट ले ली 2 मंथ में। अभी 2 मंथ में 8 डेट ले ली उन्होंने एक ही केस में। तो ये तो मेरे हिसाब से तो लीगल टेररिज्म हो गया ना जज का भी।
नहीं भाई साहब, ये स्पीडी जस्टिस है, यही तो हम चाहते हैं।
इतना नहीं इतना
अब
स्पीडली फिर
प्रॉब्लम ये होती है, देखिए मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ प्रॉब्लम क्या है ना। प्रॉब्लम ये है कि जनता जो है ना, जैसे नॉर्मल जनता क्या सोचती है कि अरे महीने में एक डेट पड़ेगी या 2 डेट पड़ेगी ज्यादा से ज्यादा, तो हम उस हिसाब से चलते हैं, हम आराम से करेंगे अपना काम, ऑब्जेक्शन बनाएंगे आराम से, वकील से टाइम पे नहीं भेजेंगे, कोई बात नहीं, एक डेट और ले लेते हैं। अब आपकी डेट ही जब 2 महीने में 8 डेट पड़ रही हैं, 1 महीने में 4 डेट पड़ गई, तो फिर तो आपको जो भी पार्टी है, चाहे वाइफ हो हस्बैंड हो, दोनों को अपना काम करना पड़ेगा फटाफट। नहीं तो फिर वो कोर्ट में जाके कोई ना कोई किसी न किसी को जवाब देना पड़ेगा ना। या तो वाइफ बोलेगी कि भाई मैंने अभी दिया नहीं है डॉक्यूमेंट, या फिर आप बोलेंगे कि मेरा अभी रेडी नहीं है। तो लीगल टेररिज्म ये नहीं होता है। लीगल टेररिज्म होता है कि भाई जो मतलब सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जजमेंट थी कि मतलब आप झूठे केस करना, मल्टीपल केसेस करना, हस्बैंड के पुलिस में केस डालना, फिर उसके ऑफिस में कंप्लेंट डाल देना, मतलब उस तरह से। तो हाँ, तो ये क्या है ना, मतलब इमोशनल मत होइए। इसी चीज को अगर आप इस्तेमाल करना चाहें तो आप ये कह सकते हैं कि अच्छा भाई केस जल्दी चल रहा है तो और भी जल्दी चलाइए। आप
जब तक
एविडेंस कराओ, उसका क्रॉस एग्जाम करो फटाफट, फिर देखते हैं।
इंट्रीम अभी इंट्रीम तक उन्होंने स्पीडली ले लिया। अभी इंट्रीम लग गया 3000 रुपए, तो फिर उन्होंने अभी 1 महीने की तारीख दे दी, फिर और आगे मैंने 1 महीने की तारीख देंगे, ऐसा करेंगे वो।
तो देखो इसमें क्या होता है ना, इंट्रीम जल्दी दे दिया तो इसमें कोई गुनाह नहीं है, क्योंकि इंट्रीम तो अगर आप कानून पढ़ेंगे तो डीबी केस में तो इसमें लिखा ही है ना 60 डेज डिस्क्लोज द। बेसिकली क्या है ना, हम लोग कानून पढ़ते भी नहीं पढ़ते हैं। 60 डेज तो उसमें लिखा हुआ है, तो जज ने तो अपना ड्यूटी कर दी है। जज हैज डन द ड्यूटी करेक्टली। 60 डेज में डिस्क्लोज कर दिया उसने इंटरिम मेंटेनेंस। उसको तो अवार्ड मिलना चाहिए कि भाई पहला जज, मतलब पहला जज तो नहीं, मतलब जो भी रेयर थिंग्स हुआ है कि 60 डेज में जो कानून में लिखा है वो जज ने बिल्कुल कर दिया, नहीं तो कई जजेस हैं मतलब कई केसेस में 6 महीने 1 साल भी इंटरम नहीं मिलता है। तो आपको ना मतलब देखिए कोई भी चीज आप देख रहे हैं ना तो मतलब उसको कानून पढ़ते हुए मुझे थोड़ा लगा ये कि मतलब इसमें कानून के हिसाब से कोई गलती हुई है या मतलब जो कानून के हिसाब से तो पालन हुआ है कानून का।
ओके।
अब इसमें आप ये कह सकते हैं कि चल आपने कोई डिवोर्स केस डाला है, अब उसमें तो टाइम लिमिट नहीं है वैसे। अब इसे कर्नाटका हाई कोर्ट की जजमेंट आई है 1 साल में डिवोर्स केस डिस्पोज करो, तो आप भी बोल सकते हैं एक साल में डिस्पोज करो मेरा केस।
ओके। ओके।
वो अलग बात है। तो कहने का मतलब क्या है ना, स्पीडी जस्टिस एक्चुअली अगर हो ना तो ये लीगल टेररिज्म बंद हो जाएगा अगर सचमुच में हो।
ओके।
हम्म, ठीक है। अभी कहाँ पे पहुंचे थे हम? 1 मिनट, ये एक क्वेश्चन है चैट बॉक्स में। Only net income to be disclosed in section H, but it is monthly or annual. Yeah, monthly, annual, whatever, you divide the annual by 12, or if you want to disclose annual, that's also fine. Also, nowhere it is mentioned ITR to be submitted for salaried or professional. Why it's mentioned, man? You search for income tax return, ITR word may not have been used. Watch the previous video. Income tax return has to be submitted for 3 different years. It's very clearly mentioned. Okay, next question is, court has ordered mutual consent, mutual divorce decree, yet she is still staying in my apartment with me. This has nothing to do with what we are discussing today. So you can ask in the Telegram group, maybe divorce group. Sir, do we need to attach statement of closed bank account as well? Yes, if it is closed in the last 3 years, as per the last 3 years, applicability, because then it will kind of, it will come in those 3 years. Okay. So last section K, details of applicant of or the other spouse in case of parties are NRIs, OCI, foreign nationals or persons living abroad outside India. Okay. Sorry, details of citizenship, nationality, current place of residence. Okay, so these are like simple kind of, citizenship, nationality, and all those things. Point number 2 is details of current employment and latest income in foreign currency. Duly supported by relevant documentation of employment and income, testimony, foreign employer. So basically, it's a disclosure of the latest income in foreign, basically foreign currency, and supported by testimonial from foreign employer or latest relevant bank statement, which basically would contain that salary deposit basically. Okay, so point number 3 is details of household or and other expenditure of such applicant spouse in foreign jurisdiction. So I guess basically it's applicable to both applicant as well as the other spouse. So uh, if you're staying abroad, you have to give your household expenditure and all those things. And details of household can include like, whether it's a 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, whatever house, all those things. And expenditure can include the rental, and I guess like any expenditure, like your car, your travel, uh, all kind of expenditure, I guess you can include in this. So details of tax liability in foreign jurisdiction, point number 4. Basically, that's like how much tax you pay or whatever your income tax return as per the that country. Then point number 5 is details of income of applicant, other spouse from other sources in India foreign jurisdiction. From other sources in foreign jurisdiction. So basically, uh, like any other interest income, rental income, whatever, all those kind of things. Okay, this is the okay. So there is a separate section basically, like this. So basically, for any this was covered even earlier, any voluntary contribution for child or even wife, but here they have a separate section for foreign citizens or foreign NRIs, that any expenses or contribution you're making for your wife or child, any education, medical, for wife or children. So I guess you can include that once again in this point number 7. Any other relevant details of expenses or liabilities not covered under any of the above headings, and any other liabilities to any other dependent family members in India or abroad. So you can include your India resident family members also, whose liabilities or expenses you will be covering if you are an NRI. So it's like some kind of additional section, because I think most of these points are already covered in general sections. So this is like one additional piece of information. And I guess the foreign currency kind of component is the additional part, I guess, because which makes sense also, because your expenses will be in foreign currency and your expenditure also will be in foreign currency. So that should be kind of makes sense actually. And even tax liability will be in a foreign country. So um, I guess that's like it's logical that you should have a separate section for those details. Okay, so I think we have covered all these points and section. This is a declaration for perjury and all that, which is I think uh, we have already covered in our group, that how to file a perjury for false statements. And there's a template generator also. But generally, it's for advisable for very kind of straightforward points. Prima facie perjury. No need to do it for like some contradictions or some guesswork. So if you have proof that she's working and she says she's not working, file perjury based on that documentary evidence. But so collect the evidence as much as possible. Um, you know, that's the whole kind of crux of filing perjury. Without evidence to counter her false statement, perjury application is kind of useless. So no need to waste time and energy on that.
Sir, one question I have on perjury, sir. Actually, in my application, they have given all the bills where the marriage has happened and everything. So in that, I found one of the bill is a false bill. So stating that, can we apply for the perjury, or uh, how it will be, sir? Because opposition lawyer, they told that to the function hall they will remove the bill and everything. But they have we have taken the documents from the court.
Yeah, I mean, perjury itself is like a mystery little bit, because some people say perjury can be applicable after the order. So
So some they told that if the wife is giving the oath uh, under the in front of the lawyer, so then we can apply the perjury. So these documents we cannot apply.
maybe that may be correct, because
Okay.
when you give document on oath, definitely perjury is applicable. But uh, maybe what this affidavit means is that declaration made in this affidavit, that is perjury kind of applicable on that. But documents you have given, that may not come under perjury. Probably that could be the this thing.
Okay, okay, sir.
So
Because I got clear evidence, but I stuck to over here. That is the reason.
Yeah, I guess we need to study a lot more on perjury. It's a little bit of mystery for a lot of us. So, mm,
Vivek sir, I have a small question regarding this perjury topic. So in the main
yeah.
application, it was written that she has taken 1,30,000 from her father and sister and had given to me for buying a property. And when I see her bank statement, luckily I had the bank statement from her when we were together. So I saw that she took the money 1,30,000 from her father and sister, and the very next day, without withdrawing it, she returned it. So there is a credit and debit in 2 days, and she has claimed right now that 1,30,000 was paid to me for buying a plot. So I have a evidence right now for a bank statement of 1,30,000, and she has given it that it was used in a plot and so on. We were paying the vendor, this money was used there, and blah blah blah. So here my case is, this is only in the application right now. So
Yeah,
will there
so
be a
it is
perjury application?
right now it's not perjury. You have to wait till evidence stage or affidavit stage. Then only you can pursue that.
Okay, sir.
It's not applicable there.
Sir, quick two things. Do you advise attaching my own expenses list along with this affidavit, my petrol or broadband or medical or because nowhere it's mentioned to attach the expenses. I mean, do you suggest doing so? This was question.
Expenses, I think they were there in
So I mean, in
which
terms
you
of the bills, that is it advisable to attach some bills also that
Sir, I have one.
uh, bills.
our
Let me
own
see. General, okay, that's for applicant.
applicant,
Details of
correct?
dependent family members, approximate expenses incurred on account of the dependent children, details of income of the deponent, assets. So you can put that in your reply basically, all your expenses. See, they have covered the EMI and all those things. Uh, they have covered expenses on children, right? But there is no mention of
Correct.
there is medical detail of deponent and dependent family members. So medical expenses also are covered. But what about your day-to-day expenses? That is
Hmm.
not covered anywhere. So I mean, I don't understand. So basically, like they have made an income asset affidavit. Expenses will be given by God. I don't know. But who will provide your expenses? Like it's like applicant they have given general monthly expenses. So basically, again, it's like for applicant her expenses. So husband, you put in a reply basically. Nobody stops you from
Okay.
giving your reply, right?
Correct.
She has filed
Yes.
interim application. You have to give a reply to that interim interest application. This is not the objection to the main petition. This is your reply to the interim maintenance. There you can put anything which is not covered in the affidavit. You can give all, write your whatever. If she has told lies about something, if she has some property she has not disclosed, whatever you are not unable to cover in this affidavit format, mention in your reply. No need to worry. Now, whether you have to give bills of, broadband or see, my guess is if the bills are reasonable, I mean, now let us say you're paying 2,000 rupees for broadband. Okay, fine. Now, if you say, no, I'm paying 10,000 for broadband, that is questionable. Somebody may say, what broadband do you have? What's so special about your? So then you can put the bill also if you want to. I mean, no harm in that, I guess.
Right. Because I was afraid if I show my own 50,000 per month expenses, then somebody might say, okay, you're spending this much on yourself. Why not give some money to? So it
Yeah,
has to be
see,
balanced.
it is,
Balanced.
oh, see, yeah, that is like a status of parties. Now, if you say that, I spend 10,000 rupees on, I don't know, on not 10,000, I spend 50,000 rupees every month on food, restaurants. Now they will say, oh, 50,000 you can spend on restaurant food, but you want to save on maintenance to the wife, right? So 50,000 per month total expense. in a metro city, I don't see it. It's a very large expense because it can. I mean, it may include. I don't know whether it includes your EMI or not, but even then, like it's possible, right? But then again, when you were staying with the wife, like what was the total household expense? That's how you have to.
Right. And so lastly, one quick one. Can I show my mother as a dependent because she's just having pension of 1,000, and I am planning to mention that she is dependent on me for medical expenses. But some
Of
of
course,
the
she is.
people, okay, because my lawyer says no, maintaining your mother is your father responsibility. But I have a different opinion that as
Is
per
is your father earning well?
he is a pensioner, not well. We are middle class. I mean, he's having some pension.
No, no. See, I mean, pension thing we have covered in detail in the previous videos. You can go through that. If the income is not sufficient, then they are partially dependent on you, no?
Got it. Sir. Thank you, sir.
And generally, what I advise is like people, we have all this saving mentality. I mean, nothing wrong in that actually. But in a matrimonial problem, what happens is like uh, you have been saving all your life, like for future. And then when the wife has left the house and say, oh, for my father and mother, I spend only 5,000 per month all my life. I mean, so far. But she needs 80,000 per month. So where is the justification basically? Like there is such a huge discrepancy, like the exaggeration of expenses by the wife. Now, my suggestion is if people before marriage itself, you can give some 20% of your salary to your parents as a love and affection. Whether they have pension, no pension, dependent, not independent, whatever, doesn't matter. Give it if you and tell that to your wife before you marry. But see, nobody will do it. No, that's the problem. People will say no, no, and some people they will say no, no. If you tell that before marriage, your wife may not marry you. Okay, fine, find somebody else then. But see, these are like these are social things basically. These are in one day, but this is the whole kind of thing that people don't uh, s- save money, but then or if you earn well, but if you spend too much, then also you will be blamed. You spend too much, so status of is very high. So give mentors to the wife. If you earn well but don't spend, then they will say anyway you are earning, so you're supposed to give that much to your wife also. So what is the? I mean, there is no escape. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's a. I mean, basically what I feel is until we have speedy trials, things. I'm not saying things will change immediately then, but at least we can expose the truth faster because these cases run for such a long time that it becomes very very difficult for husbands to fight it out in the courts. Go for 5 years. Divorce case may run for 15 years. Who has the patience to run through the courts for all so many cases? Okay, where were we? Any question? Let me see.
Sir, actually, I'm cutting the VPF in my salary account, like 12, 18 to 19% a part of PF. So that will be any benefit to the maintenance, or they will ask that the amount is going, why can't you pay to the wife?
So my logic on this is very simple. Um, Many husbands do it after the wife has left only. So your logic should be that I wanted to save money for my family in future, uh, like wife and future children. Now that I have realized, that wife may claim maintenance and alimony, but what about my old age security? So I'm diverting. I mean, like I am allocating maximum possible amount to my future pension, basically.
Okay, VPF, it is okay, no, sir? They will not question.
So they will question it.
Okay.
If you take a deep breath, they will question it. Why are you taking a deep breath? If you take a shallow breath, they will question why are you breathing so shallowly. See, I mean, husband will be questioned. The
Okay,
point
got
is
it,
the husband should also fight back. Like Why don't you
Yeah,
expose their weak points? You are always depending. Oh, if I do this, they will say this. If I do that, point out the legal terrorism. No, if she's doing legal terrorism, point out she's a legal terrorist. Point out she's a greedy person.
yeah.
Why don't you
Noted,
say?
sir. This we can tell that for our future amount, I am saving the amount for my future.
I mean, that is your any prudent person will do that. No,
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
so you can give this logic that uh, it's not like it's a justification, but it's like you can say it's a realization that my wife will not support me, right? So let's say you save money for wife and whatever family for future because she is with you. You believe she will be with you for the rest of the life. Okay, fine. Now she is leaving you and she is asking for her share. I mean, whatever maintenance and alimony also may come in future. So how do you safeguard your financial future through all these investments, BP or whatever this P with PF and BPF and all these things. So you can say that.
Okay, okay, okay. Sir,
If they say no,
on
it's a,
this,
it's a crime. Basically, see, maximum the judge may say, as per my opinion, this is a very high amount, whatever maintenance amount. Okay, you can read the order, and if you think it's worthy of challenge, go and challenge in the higher court. That you can do.
okay,
So far, I have not seen a single case like that. I mean, on BPF issue at least.
okay, okay. Sir, one more thing. Actually, I have few
Let
shares.
me let me go to the next question. I think somebody had a question in the chat box. Uh, we have already covered this 1,000 rupees for mother dependent. वाइफ को डीवी में इंटरिम इंटरेस्ट मिल रहा है और 125 में इंटरिम पर बहस की स्टेज चल रही है. डीवी का इंटरिम आदेश 125 में लगा दिया गया है. तो इस स्टेज के लिए यहाँ जानकारी मिल पाएगा या टेलीग्राम ग्रुप में पूछें. हाँ ठीक है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है इसमें, लगा दिया है तो अच्छा है. मतलब अब क्वेश्चन क्या है पता नहीं. मतलब अगर वाइफ द्वारा 1 साल के बच्चे का खर्च 1,000 रुपए प्रत्येक 2 माह में ड्राइवर का दिखाया गया है, डाइपर का 1,000 रुपए 2 माह में, तो क्या ये सही है? बच्चा एकदम स्वस्थ है. ठीक है, मतलब ये जो होता है ना, थोड़ा ये प्रैक्टिकल एक पॉइंट आ जाता है कि मतलब खर्चा असल में कितना है. तो अब 1,000 रुपए देखिए, मतलब मेंटेनेंस अमाउंट भी मुझे लगता है आपको बहुत ज्यादा नहीं होगा. इन चीजों में फिर क्या होता है ना कि मतलब अगर तो मेंटेनेंस अमाउंट जो पूरा है बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है, तो आप हर चीज का मतलब आर्गुमेंट ना करिए, क्योंकि मतलब ऑर्डर तो हो ही चुका है. तो अब या तो आप पूरा का पूरा ऑर्डर चैलेंज कीजिए, तो दूसरे में बढ़ा दें या उतना ही मेंटेनेंस रखें. तो इसको थोड़ा आप ये सोचिए, प्रैक्टिकली सोचिए कि मतलब ओवरऑल मेंटेनेंस अगर कम है या ज्यादा है. अगर ज्यादा नहीं है तो फिर रहने दीजिए. ओके, एनी मोर क्वेश्चन?
Sir, my question is related to NRIs. If we compare the section A and the section F, section K is more relevant to for NRIs, specifically for the NRIs. So still we need to follow the section F, or we go with the section K only.
Section F is for deponent. It is for all deponents, all wives, all husbands. So there is no escape from that. And this is additional section
But
K.
but section F is the details, the points in the section F shows that Indian income and the Indian tax details only. Whereas in the section K, it will shows like foreign income and the foreign tax details.
See, basically this point you can skip. Okay, now fine. I think you can submit section K only.
Section
If
K
the
only.
opposite party objects, or if the court says that you have to submit section F also,
Okay.
See, basically, it's like, what they will see is if your Section K information includes all these things,
Yeah.
like income from fixed deposit, interest income, all those things, uh, income tax is all given, all these things are covered. Then anyway, I think there is no need for the court to question. Only
Okay.
if something is less than this, then they may. So you can decide at that time, basically.
Okay.
So just to add up the same question, wife is was not an NRI, but she was working in Dubai in a school where her basic salary was around close to around 50, 50 in the rupee term, if we convert 50,000 rupees per month. And now she has come back and she's again planning to go back and settle. But she has come here for maintenance and DV case. Now, my question was very specific. How to validate whatever she will be filing across, how to cross-check, because in Indian ITR Form 60, everything is there. But somebody from an NRI perspective, how we as a husband can validate or cross-check the international based criteria? Means whatever she is submitting is correct, or is there something which she is hiding it?
That is a general question for any husband, whether it's India or abroad. If your wife is in India, she may hide her income or whatever details. You have to
Yes, sir,
be.
but India, we can file it across the PAN card. We can go to the income tax authority, file an RTI, and get the basic
They will not
details,
give
whether
you.
it is EPFO.
ITA, Income Tax Department will not reply to your RTI. I mean, your
Okay.
point may be that, okay, maybe you can file from EPF website or something. Yes, that is possible. But even PAN card, knowing the PAN card, like you won't get much information because they will reject your RTI also.
So, sir, in that case, there is no need of, no way of finding across any details, whether it international or anything based out of Indian territories. Can't we find it out the correct source of income? We as a
See, I
husband
mean,
are
like,
always
see,
on the
one
receiving.
one thing you have to realize is this affidavit itself has been given so that people are afraid of committing perjury. If your wife is working in Dubai and earning 50,000, but she says, I am in India with no job, she has done perjury. So your only hope is to find some evidence someday that she's Dubai and you produce that evidence. And I think I have been told by somebody, and there is a judgment also, that one husband has been able to recover the maintenance also, which was already paid to the wife. Normally, such judgments are very, very rare. We don't see them, but he has been able to do that. So your recourse is, if you file in future, then you can file perjury and recovery of previously paid maintenance.
But sir, getting those details from Dubai also, unless and until I have some contacts over there or anything, I'm just asking a simple question. Till that point of time, the interim maintenance might have been started levied on me. Uh, means, is there any practical solution or getting information from international territories? I'm just
Same
asking
solution
your
as in
past.
India, basically. The practical solution is you employ some detective. What is the guarantee that he'll be able to get the information and he will charge a lot of money also?
Yes.
There is no simple solution. People have to try out various things like, websites, LinkedIn, Facebook, profile, social media, whatever. If he goes to Dubai, I mean, like, and works there, like, I mean,
And she has filed it across in the summon copy that she is earning 5,000 rupees by taking tuition, and she is traveling every 3 months to 4 months. And I have a baby also, daughter, and she is trying to settle abroad. So means there is a lot
see,
of
actually,
things.
that's a good thing, no? If she's trying to settle abroad, means, I mean, she can't remarry once she's still married to you, right? Hello, I'm audible?
Yeah, yeah, yes, sir. I'm listening to you.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, no, my headset had one has switched off, so that's the reason I confirmed.
Oh, sorry.
So
No, no,
basically,
sorry.
yeah, no, I'm just asking, like, am I audible? So see, basically, somebody working in Dubai is better for a husband than working in India, because in India it's more difficult to find where somebody is. But
Hmm.
Dubai you must still be able to find. It's like one small place.
Okay.
Dubai is not like as large as India, right?
Sir,
In
we are a
India,
very
your
middle
wife could
class
be like
family
anywhere in
and
the 1.4 billion population. It's much more difficult to find. And generally, people who are like that kind of mobile, no, who are like, for them, hiding on social media is more difficult, because such kind of people will always have some social media presence or something. And with a baby, I can't understand. Like, does she have family over there? Like, who will take care of the baby? She will put her
her
in some daycare or what?
no, 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 no. Basically, is that the in-laws family is very well to do. They are around altogether five sisters and one brother, and they are based out of in Dubai only. Uh, so they are from very very well to do family. I am a middle class person, and so basically they have a lot of source of income, sir. CA brother, sisters are lawyers, and she's a teacher now. But in the summon copy, they have shown a very, very like they are living in very hand to mouth kind of a relationship, and all allegations are at least 80-85% are absolutely false, baseless. Means, uh,
So you focus on the maintenance part, don't allegation anyway. You reply in your WS objections basically,
yeah,
and
yeah.
maintenance part you check your wife's income. Don't go by the parents and brother sister whatever all that is. That is not relevant. Focus on what your wife
Sir,
is saying about her own income. That's all.
because sir, the only thing was that means I request for your email ID, sir. I just want your 5 minutes of your time, where I wanted
I'm not
to
giving you more than 5 minutes. What more do you want? You can join the
no, no,
Telegram group and ask there.
yeah, I have already joined it, sir. And can I have your
Now, see,
email
I
ID if you
cannot give
don't
a
mind?
private consultation like this. That I give a paid consultation only. You can go on
Yeah,
man-to-man.com.
yeah, yeah,
You can easily find that.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Okay, okay,
because see, we
okay,
have
sir.
covered the section which Rajnesh was in Neha. So your question is more
Okay.
like your own particular case. So that I think we should take it separately.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Any more question?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. There is wife stays in her self-owned property. She declared in her affidavit also. Can some amount be still given to her under right to residence order? No, she already has a residence. So if she has asked for residence order, then it's a copy paste error by the error or whatever deliberate by the wife. So you pointed out to the court that as per her affidavit, she's staying in her self-owned property, and yet, so you can say there's a legal terrorism basically.
Okay.
Shamelessly they are doing. I mean, so they will say, no, no, it's a typing mistake. Okay, correct the mistake. File an amendment to your application. Then even that little bit of victory is good, no? Like whatever little you can uh, bring down
Mhm.
the other side, that's good for you.
Correct. Because
Uh,
she's claiming residence order in my hometown, wherein she already has a cell phone property at a place where she already work. So it's illogical.
yeah, see, sometimes what happens is they will lie about where they are actually staying. So, for example, she may be staying in her house, but she will say uh, it doesn't make sense for her to ask residence order in your house. But uh, what is possible is they will file a case in one city, but they are not residing in that city. They are residing in another city. That is common. That happens actually quite a few times. It happens. But in your case, it's a logically impossibility. So one thing you can do is put a CCTV on your front door. Uh, in case she wants to show up someday at your house, so you should have some kind of evidence to thwart her plans,
But
basically.
chances are less, right? Logically also, if she is so well to
See, what
do.
I'm saying is, yeah, it is illogical, basically. So
Correct.
this is like a psychological tactic, basically. So okay, next question is okay. This is not about this Rajnesh person Deha, so we will not take it. Fine, I think we have covered all the sections now. So we have finished the affidavit today. So we will close the session. Thank you all for joining. And recording, I think I will, maybe with another 1 or 2 days I will upload. So thank you all. Yeah.
Thanks so much, sir, for taking out time so late on a holiday. Heartfelt thanks, sir.